We're halfway through August 2023, which means that there are realistically only a few months left before we move into 2024, which is kind of surreal. This year has gone by so fast, and while we've had many a Gacha release, there have been significantly less in terms of mobile MMO releases, which for fans of MMOs is a little disheartening. But that is why I am here. Today, I am going to walk you through what I believe are the 10 best mobile MMORPGs currently in 2023, moving into 2024. Some of these will be cross-platform, some of them may not have released globally yet, but one thing is certain, every single one of them are worth playing and are actual MMOs, not like those articles you see online make you believe. Genshin Impact the best mobile MMORPG, really? Genshin barely even has multiplayer. Now, let's jump in. Let's start this off with Black Desert Mobile, developed by Pearl Abyss and released in 2018. Black Desert Mobile is the mobile counterpart to Black Desert Online, one of the largest, most popular MMORPGs on PC around the world, and while the game functions entirely separate from its predecessor, it also has a lot of similarities. Good combat, great graphics, a large world full of areas to explore and monsters to grind, more classes than almost any other mobile MMO, deep character customization giving players limitless freedom to design a character that really represents them. This game is easily the golden standard for mobile MMOs, which is why we're starting with it. Next up, we have AVABEL Online, developed by AVABEL. AVABEL Online was an MMO originally released onto mobile platforms, but over time released onto PC, PS4, and Nintendo Switch, released originally in 2013. AVABEL is known to have some of the best MMOs on the mobile platform, and AVABEL is a title that kinda lives up to the standard that they've set. The combat is somewhat slow and definitely feels very dated when compared to some of the other games included in this list, and the graphics definitely feel like an old PS2 game, but that's also part of its charm. AVABEL feels like an old school open world JRPG, which is incredibly rare in this day and age. If you're a fan of Maplestory, then you'll love Maplestory M, developed by Nexon and released in 2016. Maplestory M takes exactly what Maplestory was known for, its quirky humor, its insane combat, and two-dimensional horizontal world, recreating it in a format that is accessible to mobile players. And it works very well. This is a game with an enormous world, dozens of total classes and class advancements, and a graphical style that transports you back into the early 2000s. Nexon might not release very many quality titles, but the Maplestory intellectual property is definitely one exception. Tower Fantasy is often referred to as the budget Genshin Impact, the Genshin Impact at home as it were. Available on PC, mobile and PlayStation platforms, developed by Hada Studio and released in 2021. Tower Fantasy utilizes an enormous open world, growing with every major patch and explorable seamlessly, with the exception of each new region, typically requiring a short teleport to access. It has what is arguably some of the best action combat in a mobile MMO, and better graphics than almost any of its competition. Easily being the best looking and best playing mobile MMO, maybe not Gacha overall, but MMO on mobile platforms. If only it weren't plagued by bugs and weighed down by its story, this could have easily been the #1 mobile MMO. Before I list the remainder of the games included in this list, let me take a moment to thank our incredible patrons over on Patreon who allow for me to research and do dedicated videos on topics like this every single day. You guys are absolute legends. Toram Online is kind of like the successor to AVABEL Online. It's developed by the same studio as AVABEL, available on PC and mobile platforms, and published in 2015, 2 years later, featuring significantly improved graphics, combat, and overall being even better received by its community. This game is considered by many players to be AVABEL's best MMO release, and the pinnacle of Japanese mobile MMOs, featuring everything we love about JRPGs, their story, their world, their characters, and somehow implementing them into an MMO format. This game feels a lot more polished than any other MMO AVABEL developed, and I'd even go as far as claiming this is one of the top mobile MMOs currently available, even despite it being almost a decade old. Albion Online is an interesting title as it was originally developed by Sandbox Interactive for PC, released in 2017 as a PC exclusive title, but later released onto mobile platforms as a mobile port. Not your typical low quality port though that mobile games are known as being, or vice versa. On the contrary, this is one of the highest quality ports I think has ever been done in the MMO genre, with no real alterations being made to the game after transitioning over to a mobile title. You're still capable of exploring the vast open world, spending dozens of hours crafting, life skilling, or engaging in hardcore PvP. You're not limited to a single class, rather the game features no class system. The graphical style might throw you off, but this is easily one of the top 3 mobile MMORPGs available right now. I guarantee you've at least heard of RuneScape or old school RuneScape at one point or another. You may not have played it. I totally understand that. The game looks incredibly dated, and for gamers with a focus on hot waifus, it's probably a hard pass for many of you. Both RuneScape and old school RuneScape were developed by Jagex with an original release back in 2001, predating the MMOs still popular today, and much like Albion Online, was a PC exclusive title until recently when they decided to port the game over to mobile platforms. RuneScape and Albion are very similar games, with a lot of inspiration for Albion taken from RuneScape. It features an open world larger than almost any other, a lot of non-combat activities, and is arguably the ultimate crafting and life-skilling MMO on mobile. Alchemia Story is arguably the most JRPG experience that you'll find in a mobile MMO. Developed by AVABEL and released in 2017, Alchemia Story is cross-platform compatible between PC and mobile. However, its PC release was much more recent. What I mean when I say it's the most JRPG experience is that this feels like a trip back to the 2000s, with its cute anime aesthetic that actually looks pretty detailed given its platform of release. Featuring a turn-based multi-character combat system, segregated worlds separated via loading screens, and its lengthy narrative focus, you'll often forget that this is even an MMO, until you see other players wandering around. Easily one of AVABEL's best titles, although I know some people will contest that claim. GRAN SAGA is a unique title in so that it hasn't released globally yet, but it is confirmed to be releasing globally at some point when the CEO of the studio believes the game is of a high enough quality. His words, not mine. GRAN SAGA is an MMO developed by NPixel and released in 2021, completely cross-platform between PC and mobile. GRAN SAGA is one of the best looking anime MMOs on mobile, offering players a gorgeous world that looks like it was pulled directly from an anime. It has stunning husbandos and waifus to collect, arguably the best looking characters in an anime MMO. It has some decent combat, a fairly deep narrative from what I've read online, and a segregated world, meaning that it's large and open but disconnected by small loading screens, as opposed to something like Tower Fantasy, which is the exact opposite. When GRAN SAGA releases, hopefully globally in 2024, this game is going to take the mobile MMO scene to a whole new level. No top mobile MMO list would be complete without Sword Art Online Integral Factor. I know, some of you may dislike the game, but I don't. I've actually enjoyed it on numerous occasions. Integral Factor is developed by Bandai Namco Entertainment, AVABEL, and Kadokawa, released in 2017. Interestingly enough, Integral Factor features a full action combat system, which for an anime MMO, especially on mobile, is rare. You'll relive much of the events of the anime if you're a fan of the original series. You'll visit zones you encountered in the anime, meet NPCs from the anime, engage floor bosses seen in the anime. This is probably one of the only real Sword Art MMOs you'll be able to play on mobile to this extent, and I think it's definitely worth playing, if even just to try the game out for the first time. It's beautiful, filled with content, and you can make a pretty sick character. And that's everything. The 10 best mobile MMORPGs, all games that I've actually played, I've dedicated time to in some capacity over the course of the last few years. These games aren't necessarily going to appeal to everyone, but I do hope one of these aids in satiating your thirst for a new MMO. If not though, try checking out one of these videos on screen. They're sure to be of interest to you.